So good afternoon, Lieutenant Venkatesh. It is a sincere honor to spend some time with you today. First, I want to congratulate you on your election as a trustee of the Rotary Foundation. Having served as a director, you've already shaped so much of our regional strategy, and it's exciting to think about the impact you'll now have on our global endowment and grant structures. A little about the Rotary Foundation. 5 years after he became a Rotarian, Arch Clump was elected to serve as Rotary's president for 1916-1917. Near the end of his term at the 1917 Rotary Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, he reminded Rotarians that Rotary is at the present time entering a new era, demanding improved methods in administrative machinery with which to carry out the splendid principles which have been laid down here before. He defined 6 points of action, including the establishment of an endowment, which would later become the Rotary Foundation. He said, carrying on as we are, a miscellaneous community service, it seems eminently proper that we should accept endowments for the purpose of doing good in the world, in charitable, educational, or other avenues of community progress, or such funds could be well used for extension work. Through Clump's simple yet profound statement, the Rotary Endowment Fund was born. In 1928, the name formally changed to the Rotary Foundation, and a board of trustees was established, with Clump serving as the first trustee chair from 1928 to 1935. Nowadays, we have a trustee chair only for a period of 1 year, but that time he served for continuously 7 or 8 years. Now, with your permission, I'd like to straight get into our discussions with our eminent guest, Venki, as he's fondly called. I prepared a few questions that touch on your vision for the Foundation's future, the evolution of membership, and your personal leadership journey. So, dwelling on vision and future impact, how is the Rotary Foundation adapting its funding priorities or global grant structure to address emerging world challenges, for instance, climate change or post-pandemic recovery, that might not fit neatly into the current 7 areas of focus?
Thank you, Sandeep. First, let me thank everyone here for inviting me, especially Sandeep, my good friend, and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on various things. It's always a privilege to be invited to Rotary Club of Bombay, and I'm no different. I consider it my privilege as well. Also a chance to meet some of my old friends. I'm seeing Saurabh Sonawal after a long time. And those of you who may not be aware, Saurabh and I did our engineering together almost, 35? If I tell you the number of years, you'll guess my age. I'm not going there. But we were classmates at IIT Madras long back. So nice to see Saurabh here. I don't know whether Akshay has come. Akshay Mehta again was my classmate at IIM Ahmedabad, so I'd invited him. Maybe he has not yet come. Anyway, going back to the question, Sandeep, see, adaptability is one of our action plan focus areas, if you remember. So we are capable of adapting to emerging needs, emerging requirements. However, let's not forget the fact that Rotary Foundation is an elephant. It takes time to move. It's not a cheetah that it can turn around quickly. It takes time to move because we are a large establishment present in over 150, 200 countries with a 12 lakh membership. So it takes time to make some changes. But however, having said that, we have never been found wanting in terms of crisis, in terms of emergencies, in terms of immediate needs. For example, the post-COVID, we had COVID grants immediately disbursed. Almost 175 districts got COVID grants immediately. So we were quick to adapt. For that matter, the Ukraine war, we had created a fund for Ukraine on humanitarian grounds, not on the political grounds, on humanitarian needs. We had created a fund. So we have demonstrated our ability to adapt, which we have done in the past, and I'm sure we will do in the future as well. Coming to your point about areas of focus, it may not fit in neatly into area of focus. Honestly, till date, I have not come across a project other than building construction. I have not come across a project where they could not fit into an area of focus because they are so all-encompassing. It fits into one area of focus or the other, including what you mentioned about climate change. We have environment as one of our areas of focus, which was not there about 10, 15 years ago. we realized the need for adding that as one of our focus, and we have done so. So right now, honestly, other than building construction, I can't think of any project that anybody may think of which doesn't fit into an area of focus. If you do come across any such project, I'll be happy to take it to the trustees and create another area of focus if need be. Our aim is to ensure humanitarian needs are met. So whatever it takes to do so, we'll do.
I've always maintained that Rotary presents each one of us a canvas in which you can paint in any and many colors. And you're absolutely right, Venki. What is the foundation doing to make the impact of grants more visible and accessible to new and younger members who may be more digitally focused, helping them connect local fundraising efforts directly to global results?
Okay, I need to go back a little on this for this question. I would say fundraising efforts are not the starting point for any Rotarian's engagement in Rotary, or Rotary Foundation for that matter. The engagement should start with being a part of a project, not necessarily fundraising. Fundraising will come automatically. The moment you're engaged and you're aware and conscious and have lived experience of what a project does to the community, the beneficiaries, the difference it makes, fundraising will happen automatically. So starting point should really be investing your time and getting engaged in some activity. If you permit me, I want to share a short story which I studied in my IIM days. It was about the confectionery mix maker, Betty Crocker. Some of you may be familiar with the name Betty Crocker cake mix. When in the 1950s, when Betty Crocker launched this cake mix, it was a beautiful product and everybody was aware of how tasty it was, but the sales didn't take off at all. It didn't take off at all. They placed in every supermarket available in the United States. It didn't take off at all. Then somebody had a bright idea. They removed the egg from that mix and sold it without the egg with a manual which said, please crack an egg, add it to this mix and then bake it. Now the sales zoomed. You might wonder what happened. The only thing was now without the egg, it became my cake. When before that, it was Betty Crocker's cake. That was the difference. It became my cake because I am adding egg to it. I am doing something more, not just add water and bake it. So now, because I am cracking an egg, I am adding it to it, beating it, and then baking a cake, it became my cake, and the sales zoomed. Is there even today Betty Crocker cake mix? Some of you may have used it. That is applicable to Rotary. It has to be my foundation, which can happen only if I get involved. By giving money, it doesn't become my foundation overnight. I need to be a part of it. I need to have hands-on experience of a project. So my thrust for the younger generation, be it digital era, digital generation, or Gen Z, or whatever you want to call it, give them a chance to play a part in a project. Fundraising will come later. We'll talk about it later. Let them experience the joy of making a difference personally, not hearsay. And it should be my project. As I said in Betty Crocker case, it should be my project. If that happens, I think we have got a winner.
Great thoughts. How can the Rotary Foundation help Rotarians better articulate the value of our foundation to potential new members and the general public? And what are the trustees' favorite success stories to share other than polio?
Okay, I'll come to the second part first. See, polio is Rotary's success story, but that doesn't sell as much as an individual success story. What will I be bothered about? What will I be affected by? What will I take home? What will I want to tell my children, my grandchildren? Polio, of course, is a great success story, corporate success story. But I want to tell my grandchildren and my children a part that affected me or where I was influenced. So the story or the message is always about how it can affect you. So, for example, I'll tell you what story I want to carry to Rotarians who have not yet experienced Rotary Foundation. Long back, before these global grants happened, it was matching grants. Many of you may be aware of these matching grants. There was a small event in my club which was donating school benches to a school in the outskirts of Chennai, in Katangulathur. 50 benches were given to a Panchayat middle school. It was a matching grant. I had no clue. It was the early days of my Rotary career. I had no clue what foundation was, what matching grant was, nothing at all. And I knew how to attend a meeting and enjoy the fellowship. That's all I knew. I was invited to be the sergeant-at-arms for that program, nothing else. He said, just put up the banner behind, those days it was a cloth banner, not the digital banner. Put up the banner, as soon as the program gets over, collect the banner and get out. This is all my job was. I was there at the school. The then governor, somebody like doctor came and inaugurated the classroom with the benches inside. One child did not get out after the program ended. Everybody ran out to have the samosas and chai. This girl did not get out at all. She was seated there, and as Sergeant at Arms, I went and asked, I said, why haven't you gone out? She refused to answer me. She said, you carry on, I'll come later. Of course, my job was to close the classroom with the banner in my hand. So I had to do my job. So I told this girl, finally, left with no other choice, I sat next to her, and I was 6 footer, this was a puny girl sitting next to me. I said, unless you come, I'm not leaving this room. And trust me, I remember when I'm narrating this incident, I'm recalling something that happened 25 years back. This small kid looked up at me and said, and she told me in Tamil, she said, in all these years, this is the first time, be it my home or the school, that I'm sitting on a bench and not on the ground. Let me experience this for some more time. You have given me this opportunity to experience something that I've never experienced before. And the next line, what she said, was what changed my perspective altogether. She said, in Tamil, she said, "Ninga kadavul sir, you are God because you have given me this opportunity." These were what her words were. I felt ashamed that day that I was taking credit for something in which I had no role. I had not paid any money to the foundation then. But here was a girl who was calling me God for what job foundation did during using matching grant. When I was driving back to my office from the school, I called up my club president. I said, what is this foundation? What can I do? So those days, of course, not like Bombay Club talks about AKS, we talk about PHF. So my president said, you can become a PHF. I mean, it was more important than my BTech and my MBA. I said, I have to become a PHF. What do I have to do? $1,000. I went to my office, wrote out a check. It was 34 rupees or 32 rupees per dollar then. Wrote a check, gave the money. At that night, I felt, okay, I have had some role to play in foundation. I can take 1% of the credit what that girl was trying to give. This experience changed my mind. Now I'm an advocate of foundation. Thereafter, I've contributed much more than what I thought I could. But all because I experienced it firsthand, where somebody was calling me God for a job that foundation did. So my suggestion to youngsters or digital people, play a part, don't be a spectator. Be a player. Once you become a player, see, as I often said, yesterday, while coming back with Nirav, we were crossing Venkatesh. That match between Zimbabwe and West Indies got over and there was a huge crowd on the road. I was thinking, there was so much noise on the streets. But who are those making the noise? They are spectators. They have nothing to do. Players don't make a noise. They play. They play. They don't make that noise. So you be a player. Don't have to make a noise outside. Play there. Be a player. Experience it. Then you will spread the message all around. So always back to being a part, being a player in the entire scheme of things.
We have a lot of Khiladis in our club. Don't worry about that. Beyond Polio Plus, are there plans to create another signature, easily marketable campaign that every Rotarian from every country and regardless of any club size can rally behind to increase public awareness?
Whatever I say is only guesswork. If you ask me, is there a corporate project in the pipeline? As far as I know, no. Also, the reason I think is still we are completely out of polio. It is not fair to talk about some other project and dilute our efforts towards our cause, which we have been struggling for the last 30 plus years, 40 years, 35 years. So there is unlikely to be a corporate project announced till such time polio is out. That's number one. Number two, what can that be? The way I see Rotary International, Rotary Foundation functioning in recent last 5-10 years, there is more and more emphasis or moving towards regionalization to a large extent in terms of regional autonomy. Because what works in United States may not work in Japan, what works in Japan may not work in India, what works in Brazil may not work in Europe. So Rotary also realizes that one size doesn't fit all. Having understood that one size doesn't fit all, the way is to let each one decide what works best for them. So I doubt very much if there would be a corporate project going forward. It may be a menu of options which each region can choose from as to what works for them. That's what I would think is the future.
About your Rotary journey, Venki, what inspired you to join Rotary? And what has kept you engaged throughout your journey to becoming a past district governor, past Rotary International Director, and now Trustee-Elect?
If I have to follow the four-way test and respond to this, it might be politically incorrect given the position that I hold today. But to be honest, I did not join Rotary to do any service. That was the last thing on my mind. That was the last thing on my mind. I joined Rotary to make friends outside of my profession, outside of my business. That is why I joined Rotary. So first couple of years, I had almost near 100% attendance because I got a chance to meet people outside my profile. So that is why I joined Rotary. If you ask me, why did I join Rotary? It was for that. Why am I continuing in Rotary? That has ceased to be a main reason for my continuing in Rotary. Now, a difference that I make personally to people's lives is what keeps me in Rotary. So very often, the reason I joined Rotary, for many of you as well, the reason why you joined Rotary may not be the reason why you stay in Rotary. That's perfectly fine. So today I stay in Rotary because I get the satisfaction of doing something significant where I play a role. For instance, I'll tell you, as I mentioned, when I was studying at IIT, Saurabh will bear me out, our fees was 200 rupees a semester, if I remember right, something of that, or 80 rupees, something of that sort. It was less than 2,000 rupees for my entire BTech from IIT. Which means I can, honestly, I know that it cost me much, it would have cost the institute much, much more than 2,000 rupees to make me an engineer. Which means thousands and lakhs of taxpayers have paid to educate me. And they wouldn't even know who has benefited from this, but I was one of those beneficiaries of taxpayers' benevolence that has educated me. So if I have the right to take advantage of several people's contribution, I have a duty to give back to the community. I have taken advantage of it when I was young. So now when I am in a position to return that favor, I should be doing it without knowing who the beneficiaries are. Because the taxpayers who helped me did not know I was a beneficiary. Same way, when I contribute, I don't need to know who the beneficiaries are. So Rotary Foundation gave me an opportunity to do that, to donate without knowing who the beneficiaries are. I thought that was the best form of clearing my debt to the community to some extent. I'll take a long time to clear that debt. But it set me off on those lines to be able to donate, to contribute to changing people's lives. And I may not even know who those people are. So that is what has kept me in Rotary today.
You make a very important point. You know, if you see the peace program of Rotary is clearly not understood by people. And yet the Rotary Foundation's, other than polio, one of the largest spends in our peace program. Would you like to illustrate or even elucidate on how beneficial, like you explained for your education, is the peace program and what it means and to the Rotary Foundation and why the Rotary Foundation goes out of its way to support this?
Fantastic question, Sandeep. Oftentimes we mistake, as Sakuji Tanaka said when he was president, that peace is absence of war. It is not. Peace does not mean absence of war. Because many of us have not seen a war at all, for example, but are we at peace? May or may not be. Or is the community around us, are they at peace? May or may not be. Peace is something where I know that I can sleep tonight without having to worry about where my meal is going to come from. Peace is something where I know that I'll wake up tomorrow morning hale and healthy and not worry about what disease I'll be afflicted with. These are the elements of peace, not just absence of war. And Rotary, emphasis on peace goes towards that. Provide a safe ecosystem for people around the globe to be sure of their existence without any worries. So the peace is that. And very recently, the latest peace center was opened in Pune at Symbiosis University. I was there last month. The people who graduate from these peace universities go around the globe providing solutions to conflict affected areas so that the community can stay in peace, live in peace. So the reason why Rotary is spending so much money on peace building and conflict resolution is that this is the mother of all projects, if you ask me. Let me share this short experience. I was in Barbados a couple of years ago for a Rotary activity there, and happened to go to a school which that Rotary, one club in Barbados had opened at Georgetown. As we stood there, Vinita and me, we were standing there. Some kids, they were all this height. They came and held on to my legs. You know, 6, 7 of them held on to my legs. And so I asked him, I said, what's the matter? He said, the kid said, the school also housed a small dispensary, and I don't know what you call it, canteen or meal center, which was again provided by the Rotary Club. These kids were coming to this meal center, getting their medicines or treated for whatever illness, and because they have come that far, they are studying in class. They said, they didn't tell me they are studying. They said, we are getting food. They didn't say, I'm studying this class. They said, we're getting food, we are getting medicines, so we are happy. Their happiness was because of that. So if you ask about peace, they are at peace today, not because there was no war in that region, because food and healthcare was provided. So these are the things which make Rotary devote more and more resources to peace. As I said earlier, this peace building encompasses all other areas of focus, in my opinion. If you do everything, it's ultimately towards maintaining peace.
Very far-reaching, because our peace scholars then go back, who are of course totally sponsored by the Rotary Foundation. They go back to society where there's think tanks or join NGOs, may not join Rotary always, very few will join. But even if they go to other organizations and contribute to positive peace in the way you mentioned, the world benefits. So if you look at corporate synergy now, wearing different hats, with your background in corporates, and how can Rotary better bridge the gap between corporate social responsibility and the grassroots service model of our clubs?
For any organization to grow not by delta, not by small margins, but exponential growth, partnerships are essential. You can't hope to do double what you are doing all by yourself in a short span of time. In corporate world, they call it mergers and acquisition. In Rotary world, we call it partnerships. Basically, you need to join hands with like-minded people or people who fill the voids in your plan of things. For example, we want to do X number of projects. It calls for, let's say, $1 billion. Our annual collection is about $450 million. So how do you reach $1 billion? Join hands with somebody. That is where these corporates come in. They complement our strengths. So together we can do wonders. They don't have the foot soldiers that we have. We don't have the kind of money that they have. So if we join hands, and there's a beautiful marriage that's possible, where we can meet both our aspirations. The corporates want to make a difference. They don't have the foot soldiers. We also want to make a difference, but we don't have the kind of resources. Together, marriage of these two will ensure a long-term sustainability, and that is what we are doing in India now, as Sandeep, as you are very well aware, and of course Rotary Club Bombay must be very well aware of CSR, which is today a India-specific activity of Rotary Foundation. As your first question, I want to go back to your first question. There was a possibility of more money through CSR in India, so Foundation was willing to make an amendment to make it India-specific activity. So that was a way to adapt to the emerging needs. So we are growing in CSR funding because of this specific reason, that it complements each other's needs.
Thank you. Venki, you're well regarded for your thoughts on growth and the Rotary experience. So looking at the next generation, we often talk about attracting younger members. This is a little different from the foundation now. Beyond just flexibility, what fundamental change do we need to make to the Rotary value proposition to appeal to the leaders of 2026 and beyond?
I would like to think I'm quite young, but anyway, you're asking me to talk about youngsters. I'm going back to a survey that was conducted, what is it called? Focus groups, feedback, about people in their 20s up to 35 was the cutoff for that focus groups. The results that emerged from that were 2-3 things. Several points, out of which I'm only narrating a few which are relevant in this context. One, that youngsters that we all refer to, let's say under 35, they don't want speeches. They don't want speeches, number one. Number two, they don't want fixed time commitment. Oftentimes we mistake attendance for engagement in Rotary, which has got to change. Attendance does not mean engagement. And more so, let's say in a Rotary Club of Bombay, I don't know what your annual subscription is. If everybody attends every meeting in Rotary Club of Bombay, your subscription will have to be doubled. Because every club, be it Rotary Club of Bombay or any other much smaller club, every club today runs on the cross-subsidy provided by absentee members, financially. That's a fact. It runs on the cross-subsidy provided. So we are able to accept it because it benefits us. But going forward, there are several other things where we need a mindset change to attract these youngsters. They don't want speeches because what are we providing in these weekly meetings? Some speech on some topic, but they don't need that. They're getting it on Google. They're getting it on AI, Meta, whatever. We still have to accept that those speeches on any topic is not of interest to the next generation anymore, number one. Number two, we still talk about networking as a big show of physical meeting. But this next generation is networked 24/7. Even if they have a cup of coffee. I had a cup of coffee and post a photograph of coffee on Insta. They're networked. So we need to change our mind that those are not our selling points anymore. Our USPs are not those. That your networking opportunities, attendance, you get people, all that is happening without a physical meeting. So we need to change our mindset. If we want to attract youngsters, give what they want, suit their requirements. Okay, they are remote, they may not come to a meeting, but they will champion a project in their neighborhood. Encourage them. Over a period of time, they'll come back to, when they cross the 35, they'll come back to where we are. But to initiate them, help them to actualize their dreams, not be a part of our dreams. They have dreams, help them to actualize those dreams. They'll be part of our fraternity in the years to come.
So now the foundation has a great emphasis on sustainability, and there are tens of questions always asked when you file a global grant and people get frustrated. How do you balance the business of running a multi-million-dollar foundation, which the TRF is, with the heart and volunteer spirit that defines Rotary?
TRF as an organization has only funds. Rotary International or the clubs or the districts are the ones who provide people. So actually there is no competition. TRF has the money, Rotary International has the people. Okay. So I would think that more the funds are more the availability of funds are, more people will get engaged. Yesterday in the car, Nirav was asking me about various projects. Nirav, of course, he knows more about foundation than any trustees also.
That is so true.
I learned a couple of things, I'll tell you later. About foundation, not about anything, from Nirav. So, see, Rotary Foundation is there to help people. Rotary Foundation is not an independent body. It is there, a part of Rotary International, to assist in our endeavors to make a difference. And how does it work? All of us know. People who have, give. People who need, take. In simple terms. So when I say people, I mean some regions in the world, they need the money because they need help. Some regions in the world have surplus, they don't have any need in their own communities, they give. So this Rotary Foundation, crudely put, is a broker. Matching somebody who needs with somebody who has surplus. So it works very beautifully. If you want me to tell you what should we do going forward, I may not agree with you on some points. As a trustee-elect, I would think going forward, Rotary Foundation should get out of small projects. Let the districts and the clubs handle small projects on their own. We should be focusing on large impact projects through Rotary Foundation grants. That is what will make a difference. You're talking about sustainability. Sustainability comes with scale as well. So that scale is possible if Rotary Foundation starts focusing more on larger projects. Right now, program of scale, we have only 1 per year. Maybe make it 10 per year. Huge impact. Malaria-free Zambia, or cervical cancer vaccination in Egypt, or even the farmers in Maharashtra and Gujarat, all programs of scale. That kind of impact has to be leveraged. That kind of scale has to be carried forward in the years to come.
Thank you, Venki. In closing, we have many aspiring leaders in the audience at the club level, regional level, national level, and the international level, dare I say. What is the one piece of advice you would give to a Rotarian who feels that they have the potential to lead at the zone or international level, but doesn't know where to start?
There was a book, all you wanted to know, but no, about Harvard. There was one book about Harvard Business School. Didn't know whom to ask. So maybe it's a question like that. You didn't know whom to ask. See, advice is a very big word. I don't think I'm there yet to be able to give advice to anyone. I can share my little bit of my experience. That is all I can do. I don't think I'm old enough or mature enough or knowledgeable enough to give advice. What I've practiced in my life in Rotary, right from day one, I've never said no to any assignment that was given to me at any level. Be it a club, district, zone, international, it doesn't matter. I might have already held higher positions in the hierarchy and somebody is offering me something lower. I've never said no to anything. So anybody aspiring to grow in Rotary, I would say, don't say no. Accept anything that comes, and if you think you are extremely skilled and talented, make a difference in that role. Tell the world that, boss, I can do much better than what you think I can. Show the world with your unique talents. Don't say no to anything that you offer to do in Rotary. That is the way to go up.
Venki, I want to be mindful of your schedule and your flight, and we are right at our end of the session mark. And it has been incredibly enlightening to hear your perspective. You talked about do everything, whether it's attending a club assignment or a district assignment or a national assignment, and also about the intersection of CSR and Rotary, and many other things. Your transition to the foundation comes at a very critical time. And after this conversation, I think it's clear that our resources are in very, very capable hands. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and for everything you continue to do for the world of Rotary. I look forward to following your journey as Trustee-Elect and beyond.